so at this stage, I'll be talking through how I've gone about doing the plan of making. So in terms of the mark scheme for this, it comes under the manufacturing a prototype section. So clearly communicated, comprehensive and relevant details of a logical sequence and achievable timeline for the stages of the production and testing of their final prototype. So obviously that's for the top marks. So clearly communicated, comprehensive and relevant details, logical sequence, and achievable timeline. And obviously going through there, communicated relevant details, logical sequence, achievable timeline, etc. Communicated details of the sequence for manufacture and testing of the final prototype. Communicating a superficial or no details of a sequence of manufacture. Okay, so you're looking hopefully towards the top end for that. Well, this is my suggestion. So first off, just list down the step-by-step instructions of how to make the product, and make sure you've included all the steps and fully explain them. Once you've listed down the steps, I'll then go through each step and make sure you've listed down all the tools and equipment for each stage. Make sure it's clear which tools or pieces of equipment are to be used for each section of the manufacture. Then materials and components. So once you've listed the tools and equipment, then list all the materials and components needed. And again, make sure it's all clear which parts go with what. Then for each stage, then try and list health and safety considerations for each bit. How did you make sure that you did it safely? What did you use any PPE, personal protective equipment, or how did you make sure it was all safe when you were working through? Did you put an extractor? Did you make sure it was well ventilated, etc. And then finally, to add time for each stage, make sure the time doesn't add up over the allocated. So 10 hours is what I would suggest for the manufacture stage. This is enough time. So I've given my students 10 hours to make the product. And here is an example. Here is an example of how I've done it. So I've done a little key here, just got information / instructions in black. Anything in black is just kind of like usually the first sentence is to do with information and instructions. And then anything that's like a light blue color is also to do with quality control. So how did I make sure I did it well? How did I make sure that I was being precise when I was doing it? Red, I put down as health and safety. Tools and equipment is in green, and the materials is in purple. So you can see here for the first one, for example, draw out a template using A2 card. The drawing should be to scale, a correct size using a tape measure and a ruler, and use the correct anthropometric data and consider the ergonomics. So there's not necessarily any health and safety for that one. So you'll see there's no red sections, but there is purple. So materials is A2 card. Quality control, the drawing should be to scale. Equipment there, so tape measure and ruler, and use the correct anthropometric data and consider the ergonomics. So we're going to the second one here, and I've done a little, this is called a Gantt chart, where basically you put down all the hours, so 10 hours there. At what stage did you do this first stage? Well, it was within the first hour, so I just coloured in the first block with a colour to say it's done it within this first hour. Cut out, and then for the second stage, cut out the templates using scissors and a craft knife. So again, in green, the craft knife can be difficult. Can be used for difficult to cut out sections. The quality control. Make sure you use the cutting mat. So that's equipment, and it's also could be in red actually. This to stop it from slipping. The metal ruler should also be used to stop the knife from damaging the ruler. It protects your hands from the knife. The metal ruler protects your hands. And again, I said this is going to be done within the first hour of manufacture. And then draw around the template onto the timber. Stick down the template using masking tape for quality control and materials. And make sure you use a sharp pencil so the drawing is precise. And again, all of that was in that first hour. So you can see you can then fill in those, and obviously it then goes on and fills out the rest, and you just put down what you think is appropriate. Obviously, they can overlap. So you can might say, for example, stage 5 took me 2 hours, is within the 2 and 3 hour section, which is use the timber, cut the timber using a jigsaw, make sure the timber is clamped down using a G-clamp and overhanging the edge. So I think that's at least 2 hours worth of work that overlaps. Okay, so this is I think a really comprehensive plan of making, which explains all the different stages. It's got time, it's got all the different attributes that are needed. Okay, thank you for watching.